So Cal, so great to get to talk with you today. Of course, X-Men 97 came out this past year, a return of the animated series, which of course has stayed with us for so long. And of course, you were the voice of a character that not only stayed with all of us, but stayed with you as well, and that is of Wolverine.
Oh yes, sir. Um, it's just it's weird. It's just the whole thing's just weird, especially the fact that we're in. You've already talked to George Buza.
Yeah, I talked to
Yeah.
George and I've talked to Lenore. Yeah.
Okay. Um, it's that we're in the same studio that we were 32 years ago.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. The 32
Yeah.
years ago, the exact same studio. Did it seem like when you walked in there, was it like just like when you left?
Exactly like that. Picture yourself in the studio. Yeah.
I
But
can imagining Rod Sterling just walking by as you're walking in the
yeah.
door.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Except, the engineers, of course, aren't the same. One of them's still there, Paul, but he just works there in another. He's not doing our show.
Hmm.
Because George said that in an interview in Montreal. He said, and we're in the same studio we were in 32 years ago, and the same engineer. And I wanted to say, no, we weren't. What are you smoking something? No, we don't.
Well, then again,
But I
with
didn't.
George, it's doubly weird because before it was a studio, he lived there in an apartment like years before that. So
Yeah. Where are you guys? You're in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Toronto, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously it was that was obviously a bit of a weird, deja vu kind of moment coming back to the
Yeah.
same place, what was it like coming back to, to breathe new life into a character that, you made famous? He was already a famous character from the comics, obviously, but from the
Oh yeah.
animated show, there's so many people who are
Yeah,
huge
yeah, of
fans.
course. Kevin Conroy will always be Batman. Cal Dodd will always
Yes.
be Wolverine. They are the definitive voices,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
no, for sure. But for you, Cal, what was it like coming back to that character after this break, especially since it's a straight continuation of the original series?
Yeah. I couldn't wait to see him, to see what he looked like. And if he would recognize me, because it's been 32 years. And I didn't, when I saw him, because I had to go in for an ADR after we recorded about, I don't know, eight episodes of the first season. And, if the animators screw up in like animating to our whatever we recorded, then you have to go back in and I have to watch his lips. So if Wolverine said, if I said in the record, if I said, back off, bub, if I said that, and the animators did it too, like as if I said, back off, bub, so I have to now redo the voice to match them.
Yeah.
That's an ADR session. So I couldn't wait. And I was the first one to actually go in for one of these things in the studio. And there's a big screen because they're in LA recording us and directing me. And I'm in Toronto. And there's a big screen, and out walks Wolverine and to see whatever, because the animation's done. And I just went, holy crap, man, you're bigger. It was just bigger and just different looking, close, but different looking though, different animation and stuff. And he looked like it was real, like it was a movie or something. And that's what struck me about what I saw. And when we went to Hollywood to see the whole first two episodes, I just kept looking at it going like, they look like real people, like, as opposed to the animated characters or whatever. It was just phenomenal, the animation. And I just looked at him and I went, like, man, it's good to see you, bub. And the directors, of course, were laughing their heads off. I said, man, I haven't seen him in 32 years. I mean, 27, 25 or 27, whatever it is. We used to record in 92. So
Yeah.
I just looked at him and this is something else. And it was so weird because I had been listening to after, of course, we had auditioned for the role again, which was just just a routine sort of thing. I was listening to a lot of the episodes that I liked in the first 5 years, which is like all of them, and I knew exactly where his timbre was and what the key, because I mean, I'm a singer, like that's all I've done way before 92. That's all I did for 25 years. And in studios. And I knew where he was because I wanted to be exactly the same, but I had no worries about that. I knew that, and I knew who he was, Bub, and nobody does him anymore but me. Get it? And I went in, and the first line that I read, God love her, Meredith, our voice person, coach, director, said, "Okay, could you do it a bit lower?" And I was ready for this. I said, "No, he does not go lower than this." And I thought you were going to say that because they wanted him to, I don't know. I said, "No, that ain't him. This is him." And she went, "Okay, then." And I said, "Yeah, got it. Let's move on." And she just laughed, of course, which was good.
Yeah.
Of course.
So it was a tense session, the first one. So I went, "Why are they directing me to be lower?" And I said, I knew they would do that. And I couldn't get over it when I actually went back and listened to the stuff from 92 to 97, how low his voice wasn't, and wow, I didn't realize it. But as soon as I started doing it and listening to myself and playing back, I was like, okay, yeah, that feels right. Because lower, it doesn't sound like him at all.
No, it's funny you
the
say that, because
gruffness with a higher range. Yeah.
well, because
Yeah.
I to your point, Cal, like to what I assume what they were thinking is that I did the same thing when I went back and rewatched. I was like, I thought your performance as him was much lower, but it's not.
It's just gravel. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I would always go back to the line when he's pissed off, and ouch, and he's pissed off, and that line to Sabretooth, which was the very first line I read in my audition in 92. This is the first line I read, and it was like, "All right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. You always like pushing around people smaller than you. Well, I'm smaller. Try pushing me." Which, of course, they all just went, "Holy shit. Give him some more lines."
Yeah.
But that's the line I would always go back to get his voice. And it's so weird when they sent me the audition thing to read over again. They took a scene from the episode called Cold Vengeance, where Wolverine leaves after Jean didn't kiss him, and she said, "I have to go. Cyclops needs me." And his heart was broken, and he did that meme thing where he lies down and scrapes Cyclops off the picture. And then he goes out to his Jeep, and he's just getting into the Jeep to head up to the Yukon or Arctic, whatever. And he looks and sees Cyclops' car, and of course, I better just fix his car for him, and rips the roof off. And Jean goes, "Wolverine!" And Wolverine looks there, and he's climbing into his Jeep, and he says, "Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible." And then he heads off up to this episode, that whole episode.
Yeah.
And oh God.
Yeah, he's with the Inuit community.
Excuse me.
Up there. He's with the Inuit community, and it was like the softer lines from that episode, right?
That was the audition piece that they gave me, and it was when he's sitting outside with the chief, and the chief says, "The people are very happy, and it's all because of you." And Wolverine says, "I know. I don't know. I feel at peace. No man knows peace that he has it in his heart." And my friend. And then Wolverine says, the last thing he says, like, "You called me friend." And it was like that low stuff, that voice. That was so weird, because the when we first started in 92, that was what we were working on, because they wanted to hear us, and I would do a whole script read for them and stuff. And they said, "So what if when he's not angry?" And I said, Is he ever not angry?" Because in the audition, they said, when I auditioned, they told me he's like, it would 5'3", would kicks major ass, would defend his friends or the people he loves to death if need be, and he's cranky, and he's cranky, and I love that. So, this was just that was the problem to how you're going to talk like Wolverine when he's not cranky or when he's not pissed off at someone. And we had to work on that, and that's odd that they would take that. Disney to read that particular scene, because that it was just a quiet read or something, So anyway, I won the audition.
Of course,
I had to sound like Cal Dodd, apparently, so that's what I did.
You did it, man. You did your best Cal Dodd impression. Yeah. Oh my God. But like jumping ahead to X-Men 97, because you brought up from the original series that moment with Jean that you were just talking about where they almost
Mhm.
kissed and then she's like, Scott needs me, and he's like, I need
Yeah.
you too. It's an interesting contrast to look
No,
at.
no, no.
Oh,
I have to go. Cyclops needs me. And Wolverine just says, so do I.
so do I. That's it. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an interesting contrast. You look at X-Men 97, episode 5. Remember it. Everybody's going on about because it's a big episode. A lot of stuff happens that almost the really touching Wolverine Jean scene is kind of overshadowed. Not as many people were talking about it, but it's such a touching scene because
Yeah.
this is when Jean actually kisses him and he's like, you're Jean Grey.
Yeah.
He's Scott
He's Scott
Summers.
Summers.
Yeah, that was such an interesting. If you look at it in contrast, he wanted it so bad at that time, but now since they've been through so much and she's been through so much with Scott, he's very much like, you guys are together. I'm not a part of this sort of thing because he wants her to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was it like to play that scene?
Uh, the lines go by like that, and I was like pissed off because I with Wolverine actually. What are you doing? She just kissed you. Now you it was just a weird line for him to say. You're Gene Summers. You're Jean Grey. He's Scott Summers, and like that's the name of that tune or whatever the hell the rest of the line was. And I was disappointed. But they are together, so whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the Wolverine and Jean moments in the show. I think we're
Oh
probably
no,
going to get some more.
yeah, yeah.
Y-
Oh, there will be.
y-
Especially when I love the babysitting when the baby's coming and she says, "Oh no, he's coming, or he's here, he's here." That's what it was. He's here, he's here. Who? That's Wolverine's like who? Well, I forget who he says.
Apocalypse.
Not,
Yeah.
Apocalypse. Where? He said, no, like basically, no, you idiot, the baby. And all he says is, "Oh crap, oh crap." And that's a great scene, all because so much he loves her. That whole ride to the airport and stuff, and then again with the doctor, we're going to need to cut. We're going to need to cut a cesarean or something or cut her. I said, I'll show you cutting. Don't hurt her or whatever those stupid lines is.
Yeah.
The big goofy, big-hearted guy.
Well, that's one of the
Absolutely.
reasons why everybody loves him is like through your portrayal, like you create a character that, was just two-dimensional on a page that people have read for decades at that
Yeah.
point. And you help create a character, that is multi-layered. Can see like what you're describing there. Like you can see that also just the funness of that. He's so ready for battle all the time
I know.
that the thought of a birth is like not even in the realm of even though she's
Wolverine
pregnant.
don't know nothing about birth and babies.
That's
That's
it.
that's it.
Like it's great because it's just, but at the same
Yeah.
time you go, yeah, that would actually makes a lot of sense. But then you, like you said, you see that, that caring, that love that he has,
Oh
that he would
yeah.
have for anyone that's in the group because he loves
Yeah.
he loves that whole team so much.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that relationship, like when you're seeing it as you get your scripts, right? Because obviously you're not going too far away from what they've written, because it's animated.
Yeah.
When you're seeing that, or you're like, how much joy do you get out of reading something like that when you have a character in an animation situation that has those kinds of layers and those depths that maybe not always apparent in other projects?
Oh no, I love his depth, and as you say, the people weren't. I don't think they were expecting that character in depth. Like the Nightcrawler episode is another one where he's in a church kneeling down praying in a church. Like what's happening here? What is he doing kneeling down? But and because he was pissed off initially with Nightcrawler, like so where's your God now? That whole scene and stuff.
Mm.
And then use different eyes, Logan. See with different eyes and stuff. And he turns and he's very. And I loved, by the way, in the new episodes that they have that episode with Nightcrawler and Wolverine fighting together. It was hilarious. I mean, not hilarious. It was kind of fun for them too, because I could tell Wolverine was having fun, and they became close friends at that point. But his depth, I gave him a lot of that because I grew up in a small town with a tough guy who couldn't lose to anyone, no matter what their size. And he was no bigger than I was, maybe another 2 inches, but just wiry. I based Wolverine and his voice on him. And he had a huge heart, and he loved children. He had, he had twins, and he had 4 children, and he loved them. But he was just a maniac for fighting and getting into it. And yeah, I saved so many guys' lives because I saw he was cracking. He was about to crack in a bar or something. Because I would be playing the piano, and this guy was mouthing off to me, or like, while I'm playing the piano, and he would just address his situation, say, "You might want to shut up. The guy's trying to play." And he turned and said, "And who the hell are you?" And I said, "Oh," I stopped playing the piano. I said, you have to stop right now, because seriously, you don't want to argue with him." And of course, he didn't believe me. And before I knew it, Joe was over me and punching this guy's lights out. And I said, "Joe, get off." It's just, that's the kind of town I grew up in. And he had the biggest heart when he wasn't fighting. It's weird to see. So I put a lot of that into Wolverine. And the writers, it's all about the writing. They were just, wow, amazing. And they knew what they were doing with them, but they were wonderful writers. So it was easy because the script was there. And then they had, I love the time when they said, early on in the whole thing in '92, they said, I said, no, whatever the thing, it was the American thing. "But what do you think, huh?" And I said, "Oh no, he's not going to say, huh? That's American. That's you guys, because they're all from the US." He would say A. And I tried to say it, and it just sounded really dumb because I couldn't get away from the second city. "So what do you think, A?" "Take off, A." they said, okay, let's just strike the huh and the A. I said, perfect.
See, I'd love to hear Wolverine in an episode just call somebody a hoser. I really.
I know. Back off, hoser. Take off, hoser. Yeah. Oh God. And it'd be as bad as that Australian dude trying to play Wolverine, like, "Back off, bub." Out of the way, Cajun. Out of the way, Gumbo. That was so silly, that whole exercise.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that was so dumb. That was just apparently it was Marvel was like, Australians are popular. Let's make this character Australian in the cartoon. Yeah.
Did you not look into his background? He's from Canada.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk like that, mate. Shit, it was just, oh my God, I couldn't stop laughing when I heard it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now, going back to '92, when the first sessions you guys did together, but then of course you had to do them separately because of the technical problems. But
after 5 episodes,
after five episodes, during those 5 episodes, you and the late Norm Spencer, who voiced Cyclops, you guys had a friendly rivalry going, right?
Oh God, yeah. He was just hilarious. And because I was a singer and I didn't know any of these voiceover people, any of them. I some of them I would see, but they didn't get a role in the X-Men, the ones that I saw. And so, yeah, the Normas had the unfortunate luck to stand beside me when we were recording those sessions. And it was so funny when we got these jackets. Of course, we were offered either Wolverine yellow or X-Men blue. So I understand Beast getting blue because he's Blue Boy. The name, and Norm, of course, I said, in our voices, it was always in our voices, "What color are you getting, psych?" And he said, "Well, it won't be Wolverine yellow, that's for sure. You can assure yourself of that fact." Well, good for you. And none of us knew who was going to be on the back. On the back of all the jackets, whether it was X-Men blue or Wolverine yellow, was Wolverine on the back. Because walking into the session, I get off on tangents. Like, so Norm doesn't wear it, so I wore my jacket when I got it whenever I was coming in to record. Finally, he wore it one day, and I said, "Nice jacket, like, who's on the back of it?" And he said, "I don't know, I haven't looked." "I don't know, I haven't looked." And I said, "I'll just turn around and show you who's on the back." He said, "Oh, dick off," or whatever. He wasn't dick off. And another time when we were doing a scene from Wolverine's playing pool in a pool hall, and Friends of Humanity are on the TV, And these guys are like, they look like bikers. They're big, tough guys that are around the pool table. And Wolverine's in his civvies, but he's got this, the unmistakable chops and hair that he had. And he's playing for it. He's taking a shot, and he looks up and he says, "Turn that racket off. Turn the TV off. Turn that thing off." Because the people are on the camera, like saying, "Down with mutants, down with mutants. Turn that crap off." And they said, "This guy, they wanted someone to do a Jack Nicholson voice for this guy. What are you, a mutant lover or something? What's your problem, pal?" And they said, "So they stopped the session, said, can anyone do, and again, keep in mind, I'd never known any of these voiceover people. And it was about 2 episodes with Norm, 3 episodes. And they said, can anyone do a Jack Nicholson? I don't know why they picked Jack, but I mean, I didn't put my hand up at all. Norm said, "I can do that." And he does whatever line they gave him, the lines they gave us for the thing, he did them. And I just, after we finished, I said, silently put my hand up and said, can I try it? Because you get paid again half of what they were paying us for getting an extra voice like that in an episode. So it was, kind of worth it. So I did whatever. I think I did a line for the movie. I didn't read the thing they gave me to read. It's like from Terms of Endearment or something, when he's with, what's her name? Aurora, I think we're going to have to get drunk. She said, "Why is that? To break the ice?" He said, "Oh no, to kill the bug that's up your ass." Norm just looked at me and he said, "Oh, piss off." And that's the way we got on. It was so I got to do that biker or whatever.
Well, it
But
seems like a comedy duo. Like you said, and his like response as the straight man is, "Oh, fuck off,"
I know. He said, and many times, ouch, that hurts when you cough with these things.
Ooh.
You call to he would hear me on the radio at jazz, because I had released a jazz album about 11 years ago. And he would call and he'd say, like, "I knew you sang, but I didn't know you sang this good." I said, "You'll never change, will you, son? You're just a pain in the ass forever." He said, "Never mind, goodbye." He was a doll, and so sad, so sad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's the sad part of life as we get older. It's you start losing friends and family, and
yeah, no, I know. That was just, to me, it was, I could see it coming, but it just happened so fast, so quickly. Because he was calling me a lot at that time, and we were talking about, there's not a lot of work, and he was always like, every time, all of a sudden, they didn't want anyone to sound like a voiceover when they wanted a voiceover for a commercial, but don't sound like a voiceover person. If it was a beer commercial, or I did a lot of those, and a lot of trucks. Nobody competes like a Chrysler dealer of Ontario. But no, but don't sound like a voiceover. Sound like the guy next door. What? It really upset him. He said, "Why did I join? Why am I'm here because I do this for you. And you want me to sound like the guy next door," which is really hard when you're a professional voiceover. And He was the best. I mean, he was a disc jockey for a while. The whole thing. He had such a, the beginning of X-Men. I swear it's him doing previously on X-Men. Who did that, for the beginning of every episode.
Episodes, yeah.
But when I do that at Comic-Con, which would really piss Norm off, when I do that voice, previously on X-Men, they go like, "Wow, did you do that on the show?" And that would piss him off. Oh, sure. We would go into auditions after X-Men was all over, and he would see me coming, because we were with the same agent too, and I think they did it on purpose. They'd send us both to read for the same audition, and I would be sitting in there waiting to go in, and he would walk in, and he'd just look and say, "Why do I even bother coming into these things?" Pardon? "Oh, I know, you'll just get it. And then, I might as well not come in. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to go in. I'm going home." He always sounded like Ted Knight to me. Whenever he was talking to me like that. "Why do we always get the roles? Yeah, I got nothing. Okay." I loved him.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
it sounds like you guys had a fantastic relationship. That's
It was. Oh, and golf. We golfed together too, and I could not get over it because he was always, with his hair. Is my hair okay? And he was serious. Yes, Norman. There goes my ear thing. Yes, Norman, it looks great. He said it's about your arms though, because he was lifting a lot of weights and doing that kind of stuff. So he was gripping the club so hard. I said, Norm, you can't. Am I gripping it hard? Tell me if I am. I said, you are. But he couldn't stop doing it. He was just like he was so stiff and tense that you have to relax. They're squeezing. Don't squeeze the club so hard. But I can't hit it unless I do it that way. Oh God, it was hilarious.
just
Oh,
the
Yeah, I miss it.
idea of hearing, like of Wolverine with golfing with Cyclops and Wolverine telling Cyclops to relax.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's an enigma wrapped up in a puzzle.
Yeah.
That was just the two of us.
Totally, totally. Now, you brought it up beforehand that before you were uh the voice of Wolverine, you did voiceovers for like you sang various commercials, various different things. You were a voiceover guy for singing, and you did a
Yeah.
lot of performing as a singer and everything like that. But from 78 to 85, you were part of the CTV series Circus, which was shot in
Yeah.
Agincourt. So it's you singing and then the circus acts would come in from all over the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They were fantastic. Yes, go ahead. Yep.
And so all these different circus acts coming in, was there ever like a moment where you saw something that you never thought you'd see involving an animal on the set of that show?
I was scared shitless of the monkeys because we were warned, don't go anywhere near the cages when you're walking by them because they will reach out and they can rip your arm off like that. You would just literally, they could rip it out of your side. So that terrified me. And then of course they had us do an intro, Cerise and I, with holding the hands of a monkey, a chimpanzee between us. Oh, that came across really cool and calm. And elephants, don't get too close to the elephant because I love the elephants, but they said because they can all of a sudden just rear up and crush you with their head like down because I guess they don't like being transported in a truck for like a day and a half, which is why they're always constantly swaying, the poor things, when they get off. No, I didn't. Other than that, the acts were amazing. But I did meet, and I went out to have a beer after the shoot with the big high wire family, the Walendas. So the Walendas were there, and I went out into their trailer because they'd been parked their trailer in the parking lot up at CFDO. And so I went out and had a couple of beers in their trailer, and there was a little kid in like a 2-3-year-old in like a cage sort of thing, but a baby's crib thing,
Oh, yeah.
playpen,
Like a playpen,
baby's
yeah.
playpen. And I said, well, what's his name? And they said, yeah, he's the guy anyway now that's walking across Niagara Falls and all. He's the last of the Rolandas, but he was 2 or 3 when I was in there, like having beers with him and stuff. Which is Nick Rolanda. So we're friends on Facebook, and that's fairly odd for him because he didn't remember the show at all because he was 3.
Yeah.
But he watched episodes of it as he got older, and it was great to connect with him. And I loved the dancers, and the music was fantastic. And Russ Little was our musical director, and it was just hilarious doing that show. And it was syndicated worldwide. People would see me. My cousins who came over from Ireland, their kid who was 5 years of age with a beautiful Irish accent. I was at Mom's place in Port Dover, Ontario, visiting her, and I saw this little 5-year-old run up, and she just ran up to me and said, "You're Cathal then." I love hearing my name pronounced properly. "You're Cathal then," and I said, "How do you know that? What's your name?" She said, "I'm Neve." I said, "Well, how do you know that?" "Because how do you know my name's Cathal?" She said, "Because I've seen you on the telly." Great, super. So yeah, it was a great time, and we did the pilot for that show with Leslie Nielsen, who is great and very funny back then. Even Leslie Nielsen, God rest in peace.
Yeah.
And don't call me Shirley. that dude.
Yeah.
And he played our ringleader, which Cerise and I ended up doing. Like, we were all dressed as two ringleaders. After the pilot was successful, we went to LA with him, and to Viacom it was sold, and we met Donnie and Marie, and because the Donnie and Marie show had just been canceled. So bingo, guess what? There's the Canadian version of Donnie and Marie. So I loved doing that show, and it was wonderful. Again, it was all about singing to me. And I came into the city in '72, and CBC TV hired me to close off their 20th CBC anniversary special. And I was the last person that people saw on that show, singing a wonderful song by BJ Thomas. That's What Friends Are For, or Isn't That What Friends Are For? And written by Paul Williams. And that's my very first on-camera ever role. And as a result of that, with CBC, they gave me a Tommy Hunter show, Mr. Dress Up. I could have loved to have gone as, well, I'm going to be Mr. Dress Up. I'm going to be Wolverine later in life. Because I was a baby, and it was, I was doing, and the Ronnie Prophet show. Again, it was all music, and they just couldn't believe my voice, because it was really beautiful and good. And I did a lot, the Hunter show, singing 2 songs in the show, whatever. And that went on, and then I met Ian Thomas was the tape op at CBC Radio in 1972, when I went in to record some songs with Brian Brown Jazz Trio and whatever, and 3 original songs that a buddy of mine from Port Dover myself wrote. And Ian Thomas was the tape op, and exactly the same age. And it's so weird, because they sent me across, and he said, "I'm Ian Thomas." I said, because he was nobody at that point. And Dave Thomas, who was nobody at that point either, would come in and visit, because he was out of a job, and he wondered if there was any work at the CBC that Dave could do. He said, "No, it's nothing here, Dave. Sorry." And so Ian was my producer. He produced that first transcription disc for the CBC that was allowed them to play it for a year all over Canada, 3 new songs. And I did the Juliet show. I did a Harry Nilsson tune, Everybody's Talking at Me, on her show. That was the very first thing I did. And then I did her TV show. And after that, it was just, I owned the city.
Yeah,
as far as jingles, I was doing, at least for 22, 3, 4 years, working with Lori Bauer, Billy Meisner, and beautiful girls, Sharon Lee, Sean Jackson, all of them. And at least 2 a day, every day, in different studios in Toronto. And they would fly me to Montreal with Lisa Del Bello to do Wonder Bra commercials. And it was I just loved that era of my life. It was just singing what I love to do, and holy crap, they're paying me. I can't believe it. Yeah,
no, it's pretty amazing, because you mentioned that you were like you were the Canadian Donnie Marie, but also you were also with Deja Vu. You were the Canadian 3 Dog Night, weren't you?
God, yes, exactly, and that's exactly what it was. And Skip Prokop put it together here. May he rest in peace. Skip Prokop put it up together, and he saw me at a theater thing, a theater production, not a theater production, a concert of the Black, like, not the Four Tops. Doesn't matter. I loved them anyway, and I was sitting in the audience, and the next day I got home to Port Dover, and he phones and says, "I wonder if you'd be interested in, I'm putting a group together to replace 3 Dog with Jimmy Einer in New York. I would love you to be able to sing with us." I said, "Sure." Met with them, and met the other 2 guys, and we did the album, and came back, toured with Joe Cocker, which I never forget that in my life. Joe was just such a doll. And we were the opening act, Deja Vu, and then Joe would come out, the main act and stuff. We went across Canada in buses. We started in Halifax in buses because Joe refused to fly. Joe wouldn't fly. He was afraid of flying. So that was a trip and a half. And I came back, continued a stint in Charlottetown, for 2 years on a rock opera written by Cliff Jones, who's Toronto based, called Kronberg 1582. It was Shakespeare's Hamlet, since Kronberg was the castle. Shakespeare's Hamlet, and I hired my brother because Cliff was looking at. I can't find Horatio. He wrote it for me, the show, around my voice. So I was Hamlet, and I said, "Well, my brother is a good singer." And he said, "Oh, is he? Would he be? Does he sound too much like you?" He said, "No." And I said, "Okay." So Rory came up and he gave Rory the job. So we both went to Charlottetown and did that. And Beverly D'Angelo was in the show, and Rory, New York came down and picked it up, and it went to Broadway. Rory and Beverly, that's when I decided I was going to do the rock and roll, the deja vu thing. So this is probably like 1975 or 6 that Rory's in New York with the show, and I'm in the city doing our first deja vu album. And Joe Cocker's tour was in '76, so it was right after that album. And I just, things keep jumping into my head now. They asked me the question because I'm now reliving my life in front of me. And wow.
Well, no, you've
Okay.
had a pretty full life, man. Like,
Oh,
again,
man.
singer, jingles, voiceovers, and like
Yeah.
you're such a hero to so many people because of your performance as Wolverine too.
Yeah, that is, I couldn't love anyone in my life beyond, of course, my family, etc., my friends, than the people at Comic Cons, because this is a gift that I believe that I've been given to spend moments with these strangers that I don't know, that come up to the table and say, "First off, sir, I would like to thank you for my childhood." And they go on from there. And this one gentleman came up, and there are an awful lot of autistic people. And I have a place in my heart. My little brother was born blind and deaf from birth. I have a huge spot for people with handicaps of any sort. And he came up with his daughter, who is about 10, and he walked up dressed in black, both of them, like the Wolverine black outfit, whatever, and claws, like Wolverine claws on them, come up to my table. And he just starts, I could tell that he had it memorized. He said, "I would like to thank you for saving my life and for making it possible that my daughter's here today, because I was going to take my own life. And my friend talked me off the roof that I was about to jump off, because he said, you're going to miss X-Men on Saturday, and Wolverine would never do what you're doing now." And he said, I immediately went, "Oh, you're right." And he got down, and he said, "And I have my daughter here." He said, "I'm autistic, and so is my daughter here. She's 9 or 10. And I said, "Well, it's so wonderful to meet." And he had claws on. I had my claws on at the desk, at the table. And when he finished, I took my claw off, and I put my hand out, and he took his claw off and put his hand out and shook my hand. Then the girl did the same. And the two of them, excuse me, turned and walked away. Said, "Just thank you so much for my life," and boom, walked away. With that, as soon as they were just about, I don't know, 10 yards away, and this woman comes running up to the table. She's in tears, and she says, I can't believe what I just saw. That's my husband and my daughter. And he has never, ever, part of his autistic, that he has never touched another person's hand. He just will not touch people. But he touched your hand because you mean so much to him as Wolverine." And I just started, like, tears, and gave her the hugest hug, and she ran off. And it was just like, what am I in here? And that is nonstop every city that we go into, and they are so true, and love the series, and love the characters, be it Rogue, be it Gambit, be it whatever. They just love who they love, but they love me most. Because they feel sorry for me. They feel sorry for all of us, but Wolverine's like the loner, so they feel like protecting me, and like they want to be his friend.
I gotta imagine how overwhelming that must be, like what you're describing, like to go from what you ostensibly thought was just, I'm doing a job, I'm doing this character, it looks really cool, I'm having a good time, and then for now decades to have those kinds of stories, like
this is going to happen. This will happen. It will come to fruition. I started getting all these people coming up, and after saying, first of all, sir, I want to thank you for my childhood, and I would like to thank you also for my son Logan. I said, his name's Logan. The number of kids that are named Logan is unbelievable. They send me pictures on social media of and I saw him in Montreal this past weekend, and the little boy who's now 2.5, 3, and they sent me pictures of him in the womb, the ultrasound, and they say, "This is our son Logan." You know, I hope you get to meet him someday, and that's what they all say. And the Logan kids are so happy because the fans that were watching our show are now 40 to 45, and younger to a certain point, and they have their own children, and they're so happy now that they get to watch it with their children because they've been watching the 5-hour-old series. They've introduced that to their child who just they love Wolverine, but they named their son Logan. Thousands of them. So we're going to have a Comic-Con only for Logans, which will be hilarious.
Logan Con, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
People coming up to the door, they want to come and meet you, and they're like, "Can I see your ID?" No, Bill. Sorry, no admittance for you. Only Logans.
Yeah, I know.
Note to self: contact the government tomorrow. Change your name to Logan. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's uncanny. It's uncanny, but it's true. It's like, oh my God, and every one of them says thank you for my childhood, and they're not. And I've seen men that age, 40, standing over beside my wife, who was off to the side, and he was just watching me reacting with children. And I have many people come up to me and say, I can't get over the way you are with the kids, the young ones." I said, I love them, and this guy, because he was so. And he had been talking to my wife, and he's 40, whatever, and he started crying because he was getting so. I said, I can't believe I'm seeing my childhood hero, and he's in tears. And then he watching me hug these little kids and stuff, and he lost it. She's holding him, and then finally he got his turn, and he just sobbed like a baby. And
Oh my gosh,
huge guy.
Wow.
So I stabbed him. So I cut him down to size. I said, "Snap out of it." No, like in the Cher movie. I think it was the guy, whatever, that Over the Moon, that moon movie that Cher was in.
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck, when she slaps her boyfriend, whatever, potential boyfriend, in the face, like, snap out of it. Yeah. But I'm telling you, they are. I just do it for them totally, and I just love, as much as I hate the Air Force that I have to sit in for hours. I can't wait to get there and to see them, the first person, and then it's nonstop. And my lineups are so long, it's ridiculous. It's just, and they're getting worse. Like, not worse by that means good, but the staff, the security guys, because they're putting people and controlling the lines, said, I have to meet you because these people have been waiting for 2.5 hours in line, and they get to know each other, and they're trading phone numbers and talking to each other because they're talking about old episodes and what their favorite episodes. By the time they get to the table, there's like groups of 8 of them, like one at a time. They have to come in and say, "Well, we're friends now." Like, it's a whole, it's an event, and it makes your heart warm, and and it makes me smile. And it's just, my wife just sits there and goes, "Oh my God, you're never going to be the same, are you?" I said, "No."
My gosh.
Oh.
Well, I got to say, this season of X-Men 97 has been fun. Really looking forward to the next season of X-Men 97 and what's next for Wolverine. Of course, he's gone through some really tough times at the end of that season with the adamantium being ripped from his body. There'll be a lot for him to get over in this next season.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I've done the episodes.
Yeah.
And stuff, but I made that mistake with Disney. I couldn't believe when I put out, we started the second season. So I go into the studio and, the guy takes a picture of me with, my claws or doing this thing, and saying, ready to get on to season 2 or whatever, into doing a new next episode. I posted it within 5 minutes. Disney was on the social media saying, "Pull that down, Cal, immediately. Take that down," because season 1 was a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
no one knew if Wolverine was going to die. But
Well,
whatever.
comic fans knew, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a weird state of entertainment these days, especially with like, and I get it from a corporate standpoint. They want to protect their properties and control the
Yeah.
narrative and all that fun stuff. But like, you're just having fun, and you want to share the excitement of what you're doing, and then fans
Yeah.
like us are just like, we know he lives. Like, you
Yeah.
can't. He's your number one guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd say, and for people that don't, a quick Google
They-
search would find a comic from the from 1993, in fact, where it happens. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. And they, by the way, they need to be reminded that he's their guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
he's been a stranger
Yeah.
as they introduce the new characters and stuff, which is great. I mean, the new characters and the voice actors are phenomenal and wonderful people, but you're forgetting the guy that got you there.
Yeah.
The Wolverine. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Oh,
We'll
totally.
see. We'll
We'll
see
see.
in the. Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more Wolverine.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Wolverine. He may not have done as much as before this first season, but we all know he drives the car. Like, he
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah.
That car is going
After he
nowhere.
cuts the roof off of
Yes,
it, he
well,
drives the car. Yes.
Yeah. I know. and the lineups speak volumes
Yeah.
because I'm there with like five other cast characters and stuff, and I've never seen them actually like they are this year. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours waiting, and I apologize to them when they finally get to the table, and I'm the last one. They've all gone. They've left the rest of the crew, but I can't because I'm there for them. You know, I'm supposed to be over at 8 p.m. and I'm there till like 10 to 9. Just
Oh my
so that they can
gosh.
they've been waiting for 2 hours. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
oh yeah, see you tomorrow, get in line again. No. Jeez. Mary
No,
and Joseph.
totally. I hear you.
Yeah.
Cal, I want to thank you so much for talking with us today. It has been a
Oh, you're
delight.
so welcome.
Again, you have lived such an interesting life, and it's still going, and you're going to be doing some amazing things, and we can't wait to see more of X-Men 97, hear more of your work. And hey, is there any chance, I know it's been a long time, 2007 was a long time ago, any chance another album?
Oh yeah, and I was going to say just before you close here, from when COVID hit in March 2020, there were no studios; they all closed. We were out of work, like singing, and I had to keep this happening. My singing because it's my life. It has been since the age of 5, and so I went out and there was a goose involved in this, which is another story. But a Canada goose who laid eggs on my property, and I named her Gilda, and she had her first 2, and then her non-existent boyfriend or gander would come once a week because they sit on the nest for 28 days straight. They don't leave while she's nesting. He comes back once a week and stands proud, like he's okay, nobody touched my wife here. And then he would disappear for another week down at the Humber River, probably boinking other geese. So I started singing to her. I started, you are so beautiful to me. And they just loved it. And Sue Brophy, who is our producer of Circus, said, Cal, did 5 years of Circus teach you that we don't want to see the goose anymore? We would like to see your map. So I started singing, and that was in March of 2020. I have posted now over 2,000 songs on Facebook. I'm going to do one tonight. It's a country song, but I scope out all the information on the song, who wrote it, who recorded it, when it was recorded, everything about it, and then I sing it with
That's
great
awesome.
tracks that you pay like $2 for the tracks, and it's basically like a karaoke thing, but the tracks are excellent. And I'm in my pool outside the pool cover, so it's got a natural sort of echo in there. Not a lot, but just perfect amount. So over 2,000 songs. So friend me on Facebook.
I'll definitely have to check it out. Totally. Thank you so much, man. Cal, it's been a delight. I'd like everybody else.
Andrew.
You've touched our childhood.
Yeah.
And
thank you,
look
James.
forward to
Thank you,
more.
Andrew, so much. I'm here.
Yeah.
All righty.
Awesome.
And much to many people's chagrin, I'm not leaving, Bob.
Oh, we love
I'm
that.
here, and I ain't leaving.
You ain't leaving. Fantastic.
Perfect.
Well, thanks so much again. Have a great day.